Hi, I'm Shannon Gonter. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor in Louisville, Kentucky. And today I just have a super short workshop for those of you who are getting married soon and are kind of in the middle of wedding planning. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, um, though this is a workshop, this is informational, I will be giving some of my clinical knowledge to you guys. This is not a therapeutic relationship between me and those of you attending the workshop. This is simply just for educational and informational purposes. I do clinical work with clients, and so if you are interested in learning more about those services, just go to my website and you can reach out and we can explore that together. But this is simply just to help those people that are in the wedding planning process and are super stressed. It is a very stressful thing to be doing, but it's also a super exciting and super great space. So we just want to be able to create enough space for all of those things and be able to explore them a little bit more. So like I said, super short, there's only 4 little pages that I'm going to go through, and we're going to explore them. So if you find yourself super stressed at times during this wedding planning process, so normal, so okay. But if you feel like you're starting to drown in these waters that have become your wedding, you might want to take a breather, especially if you've been trying to navigate and plan a COVID wedding, because that is just another fun factor added on top of all the other things going on. So these are just some spaces to think about. So if you resonate with any of them, spend some time in that section. Are you no longer enjoying this process of you and your partner planning your wedding? Are you procrastinating a ton on certain things? You know, these are kind of some signs that like you're drowning in those waters. You're constantly annoyed at everyone around you. You're constantly under the weather. Eloping doesn't sound like a bad idea after all. Planning is taking over your life. You've set unrealistic expectations for this day in this process. You and your fiance are constantly bickering and fighting. You know, you're trying to do it all, or you're falling back into unhealthy behaviors. Likely, everyone who's planning a wedding now, or if you've planned a wedding in the past, you're probably going to resonate with all of those, or at least one of them, pretty strongly. And I really just encourage you to spend some time, again, reading that little paragraph, create some space for all those things that are there. So, for example, let's say, you know, you're constantly under the weather. That's the one that you really connect with. So, really being able to see how stress is showing up in your life. Is it headaches, stomach aches, muscle pains? Do you have like a reduced sex drive or low energy levels? Are you having a lot of chest pain when you have to like sit down at the computer and do some planning? Really pay attention to those symptoms in your body. Maybe they're thoughts in your head too, always remembering that our head is connected to our bodies, and really creating space for the stress to be there. Some of it may be stress that is just going to be there, and that's going to be okay. We don't need to make it to go away. We don't need to fix it, but really just creating space for it to be there and understand what it's telling us. When a headache pops up or a stomach ache pops up because of stress, that is our bodies physically telling us, like, hello, listen, something's going on. And then maybe we can do something with that stress and how it's living in our bodies. Sometimes we can actually do something with the stressor too, that external thing that's causing the stress, but not always. Sometimes the stress is just there. But we do have a little bit more control about how that stress is living in our bodies and what to do with it then. Another example would be like if you've set unrealistic expectations for this process or this day, just really taking a breather in and knowing that like nothing in this world is perfect. And yes, that includes your wedding. So instead of aiming for that perfection, really try to shoot for like excellence, or kind of relax and soften into that in regards to your expectations. But on the flip side of that, you know, if there's this really, really edgy intensity to the pressure surrounding perfection and your wedding day, exploring what that means if your wedding day isn't perfect. Does it mean something about you? Does it mean something about your family? Is there some type of protective mechanism that's going on that is adding all that pressure onto this expectation for this one day of our lives? So, like I said, spend as much time as you want, pause it to be able to kind of intentionally spend time here. And then on the following ones, we're going to focus on how to take care of ourselves. So, these are just some ways that are super helpful. There's one more page after this on different ways to take care of yourself, to really kind of just like hone in to you and your partner and figure out how you want this kind of marriage to go. Like, there's lots of options, and there's no right or wrong way of having a wedding or not, or getting married at the courthouse or in your backyard or online or all sorts of things. Like, there's really no right or wrong way, but we again put all these expectations and all these things onto it, and internally we just don't know what to do with all that. So sometimes meditation can help, taking care of yourself in that way. A mantra may help, kind of like in those moments of super high stress. Softening scents like lavender and chamomile and basil are so great. I personally love lavender. And the last one down at the bottom is like allowing yourself to be nervous. Um, some people aren't as comfortable with that because nerves are usually taught to like stop being nervous, or like, oh my god, you have nothing to be nervous about, or oh, you guys love each other, like it's going to be great. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, we can still love each other and I can still be nervous. Maybe I'm nervous because there's going to be a lot of people looking at me, or maybe I'm nervous because this is a really big commitment that you're making. So those nerves have a place in this process, like humans, but we've got to be able to create space for them so they're not just like stomping on everything else to try to get us to pay attention to them. So yeah, again, pausing and letting yourself soak in any of those for as long as you need. And then over here, just some other ones, jotting down your feelings, not being afraid to delegate tasks to other people to help you, pampering yourself if that's something that helps, taking care of yourself in all the ways, and then staying connected with your fiance and your partner. All super helpful things. Like I said, mantras are sometimes helpful too. And on the side here and here, there are just some mantras for you in this helpful way. But yeah, take care of yourself. Really important, like I said, during this wedding process, but also like leaning back on some of those things that you did before you were engaged or thinking about marriage, like those things that were really helpful for you and your partner to kind of like check out and de-stress and relax, but also those things that are helpful for you to do. It doesn't always have to be with your partner, even though we are talking about marriage with you and your partner. And so just really, really taking that time to like press pause, slow down, be intentional in whatever way that will work for you. But like I said before, if you have any questions about this or just want to further the conversation on it, or are really looking to get in with an individual counselor and want to start some counseling, feel free to reach out to me. I may not be the best fit for you, but I know lots of therapists in town and throughout the state, and we'll be able to help you in finding a provider that way. You can also just go to Mental Health Louisville's site. They've got a great directory too, and they have lots of filters to help you find a provider. And yeah, until then, be well.